1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Pentru că este 9:30 și la Institutul de Științe Spațiale nu putem să fim decât preciși, ca la o lansare spațială. Am să vă invit să începem evenimentul nostru de astăzi. Numele meu este Ana Măiță, sunt președintele Fundației Crucea Albă, o organizație românească dedicată inovației sociale, promovării științelor și gândirii critice în rândul copiilor și predării abilităților esențiale de viață. Sunt onorată să fiu coorganizator al acestui eveniment găzduit și făcut posibil de Institutul de Științe Spațiale prin amabilitatea domnului director Sorin Zgură. Suntem la o premieră pentru că este prima oară când o delegație oficială de la Agenția Japoneză pentru Explorarea Spațiului vine în România să prezinte un program național pe care dânsii l-au realizat în Japonia, un program cu un scop extrem de interesant și pentru România, anume modul în care explorarea spațiului poate fi utilizată ca vehicul de fascinație în rândul copiilor pentru a-i mobiliza să fie prieten cu știința, să fie prieten cu gândirea critică, mai ales că trăim într-o lume în care vedem, din păcate, cum curente antiștiințifice, trenduri pseudoștiințifice și tot felul de idei care mai de care mai fantasmagorice încep să capete o semnificație socială din ce în ce mai mare, în detrimentul gândirii critice, în defavoarea cercetării științifice și până la urmă a progresului uman. Nu am să vorbesc mai mult pentru că vreau să introduc și pe speaker și pe domnul director Sorin Zgură să ne spună câteva cuvinte. Înainte de aceasta am o rugăminte să setăm telefoanele mobile pe silențios sau pe vibrat, în cel mai bun caz. Avem o transmisie live, avem live streaming, puteți urmări această conferință live pe canalul de Facebook și YouTube al Institutului de Științe Spațiale. Dacă doriți să aflați acest link, ne întrebați pe noi, echipa de organizare, Cristian Ionescu de la ISS, Gabriela Cadar, care este cu noi în echipă și traduce pentru delegație din limba japoneză în limba română și invers. De asemenea, le avem pe Mihnea Stoian, olimpic la fizică și științele pământului, ne ajută astăzi la organizarea evenimentului și doresc să le mulțumesc colegilor mei pentru voluntariatul pe care îl fac zilele acestea. De asemenea, doresc să-i mulțumesc domnului director Șonca de la Observatorul Astronomic, amiral Vasile Urseanu și colegei sale Elisabeta, care ne vor găzdui astăzi mai târziu o masă rotundă în observator. Avem colegi de la ROSA, în afară de... Nu, n-au ajuns încă, trebuie să ajungă și dânși. Domnul profesor Dolea de la ROSA prin programul ESERO, dedicat profesorilor de fizică. Acestea fiind spuse, îl invit pe domnul director Zgură să ne spună câteva cuvinte.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to our guest. We are here in Institute of Space Science. We are a legal subsidiary of the National Institute for Laser Plasma and Radiation Physics. We are from 1956. We have a long history. In our institute, we prepared the first Romanian mission with Dumitru Punariu cosmonaut. Also, in our institute, we prepared the first mission to international space stations in 2012, and also in our institute coordinated the first Romanian nanosatellites in space, satellite Goliath. Our activities is to spread. We are part in a lot of space mission, collaboration with NASA, European Space Agency, and also with Roscosmos from Russia. In space, on the ground, in astrophysics topics, we are part in Pierogi Observatory from Argentina, also part in Taiga collaboration with Russia, also part in Antares collaboration in Mediterranean Sea, and also in accelerated physics at CERN, in ALICE collaboration, FAIR collaboration from Darmstadt, Germany, also NICA collaboration from Joint Institute for Nuclear Research from Dubna, Russia. We are part in the Planck mission, Euclid mission, LISA mission. Also, we are part in the Gemeuso mission. This is very close with Japanese people. This is Extreme Universe Space Observatory from Japanese module from International Space Station. Also, our interest in computing, in GINT computing, we are part in Tier 2 Federation from CERN, and also we offer computing for ESA, for Planck, for Euclid mission, also for ground segment Pierogi Observatory, and other topics from our institute, also nanosatellite technologies. You'll see tomorrow our assembling, integration, and testing nanosatellite. This is a Romanian niche in European Space Agency to produce a nanosatellite. And also we have a preoccupation in telemedicine and encounter measurements for the astronauts. Please, I will stop here because I will offer you the time to explain us your activities, and we are very interested. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I will switch to English. I'm happy to present you the Japanese delegation from JAXA. The first speaker will be Mr. Nozomu Sakuraba, Director of JAXA Space Education Center. Please take the floor, Dr. Nozomu Sakuraba.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. So my name is Nozomu Sakuraba, and now it's time to 4 p.m. In Japan. So almost finished office work, but let's get started in Romania. And so On behalf of JAXA Space Education Center and 3 presenters, I really appreciate setting such great opportunity. We can exchange information each other, and I would like to learn many things from Romania. So today we will present space and education. Let me introduce today's presenters briefly. My name is Nozom Sakuraba. I am the director of JAXA Space Education Center, and Dr. Makito Yurita, he is the senior research fellow of National Institute for School Teachers and Staff Development, and Mr. Koji Yanagawa, he is former director of the Human Space Technology and Astronaut Department of JAXA. And Mr. Makito will present from, I present you about JAXA's space education program, and Makito Yurita will present you researcher's background, and Mr. Yanagawa will present you engineer's view. So we have different background, and let me introduce about myself again. My name, when I was younger, I was a high school science teacher, and I taught chemical and 1 year physics and earth science, and I live in North Island, Hokkaido, a long time, and I related lifelong learning promotion many years, and I related youth education in Tokyo. And previously, I was a principal of elementary school, and JAXA recruited educational staff. So JAXA would like to promote the educational program effectively, and I quit my principal jobs, and I joined JAXA 4 years ago. JAXA is the governmental space agency of Japan, and its role is the research and the development of space technology and space science. JAXA was born through the merger of 3 institutes, namely of Institute of Space and Astronautical Science ISAS, the National Aerospace Laboratory of Japan NAL, and the National Space Development Agency of Japan NASDA. 3 institutions gathered employees with different backgrounds, and we founded JAXA in 2003. In 2003, public relations and educational activities belonged to the same department. But in 2005, JAXA separated the public outreach and education, and we established Space Education Center. So JAXA Space Education Center has a 13-year history in JAXA. Looking back on 2005, I remember one song, and the very famous song, Maya hi, Maya ho, Maya fu, no ma no ma. Yeah, I remember this song well. And do you know karaoke? Yeah, and I often sang this song with my colleagues in Sapporo, and I feel nostalgic. This song, yeah, and all the Japanese knew this song, and except for the younger generations. And this map shows where JAXA field centers are located. JAXA head office is in Tokyo, and we have 2 rocket launch sites in the southwest part of Japan. JAXA Space Education Center is located in Sagamihara campus near Tokyo. Sagamihara campus is also famous for space science and planetary exploration activities. If you know about asteroid research activities, you may know the name of Hayabusa. JAXA developed the Hayabusa and the Hayabusa 2 Explorer probes. Hayabusa brought back sample particles from asteroid Itokawa, and Hayabusa 2 was launched 4 years ago and is currently on its way to asteroid Ryugu, which is the name of Japanese castle that transcends time in Japanese folklore. It will touch down in this year and return back to the Earth with samples in 2020. The center consists of 25 staff members, include 6 regular staff and 90 invited or contracted staff. The center carries out 4 major activities. I would like to explain about how we perform space education in JAXA. The philosophy of the Space Education Center is to ignite the passion in children's hearts. We continue to enhance our activities to ignite children's curiosity toward the nature, life, and the universe. Mankind's challenge toward space stimulates the adventurous spirit in children's hearts. We would like to lead these children to gain a deep interest in the science, to solve these mysteries based upon their strong curiosity and adventurous minds. We believe there is one more spirit that is important for children to enrich their lives in addition to the spirit of curiosity and adventure. It is the spirit of craftsmanship, which is necessary for children as their method to create and formalize their spirit of curiosity and adventure. We defined the We defined the meaning of craftsmanship as the mind which motivates people to create something. In the other words, the mind of creativity. Every child has these 3 spirits. Once these spirits has been stimulated, these children will work independently without the help of adults to further their knowledge by taking advantage of their desire to do research. The development of these 3 spirits is the core philosophy of the Space Education Center. To achieve higher goals, our activities have 4 categories: formal education support, informal education support, home education support, and international activities. Making materials that resulted from space activities catch many materials that resulted from space activities catch the attention of young people and appeal to their curiosity. We are assisting the development of teaching plans as well as teaching and learning materials in classrooms. In Japan, children from ages 7 to 12 attend elementary school, and 13 to 15 attend lower secondary school. We call junior high school to 13 to 15, and elementary school and junior high school as compulsory education. And from 16 to 18, high school, we called high school upper secondary school. JAXA Space Education Center supports for this formal education, including high school. This table shows the number of our school support. Now we are supporting more than 100 schools in Japan. We'd like to try to increase the number of chance of kindergarten teacher training, because according to our recent research related Dr. Makito, it is very important to develop a learning attitude from preschool or kindergarten. How do we perform? How do we foster sensitivity of young people? We can stimulate curiosity of children using space-related materials. Nurturing childhood learning attitudes leads to learning throughout their lives. JAXA Space Education Center put lots of effort into establishing collaboration with boards of education in the local community all over Japan. We jointly provide training opportunities for teachers to learn about space education and to acquire skills to bring space into classrooms. Before introducing collaborations class, it is necessary to know the role of the teacher in the teacher's seminar. After taking these seminars, teachers try to use space as a material of their classrooms. And these are the beginning of collaboration classes. It is efficient that the school teachers already know about the benefit of space education and have basic skills to conduct activities using space materials. So we think teacher's seminar is very important. The picture shows how school teachers teach about the solar system and the kind kids made models. Bottom right is plastic scaled models of moon and the earth. When biggest one is the earth, which is the moon? 1/3, 2/3, half, 1/3, quarter, 1/5, 1/6. Which one? A quarter, yes. This one, yes. And supporting informal education in another pillar of the activities of the Space Education Center. Through informal education support, we aim to maximize the synergies of space education efforts undertaken by various entities, including local governments and non-governmental and non-profit entities. Space School is one of the direct activities of Space Education Center. Recently, these activities are promoting collaboration with local agencies. In the Space School event, high school students were given the opportunity to meet and talk with real space engineers. They excitedly asked questions about their career path, their works, advice for their studies, and so on. Bottom right here is JAXA President Dr. Okumura with the high school talk with the high school students. Our president is cooperative with these activities. We conducted the space school at 5 JAXA offices in fiscal 2017. Japanese budget period is from April to March, and participants are given a mission related to the future of each JAXA office. Tanegashima Field Center principals think about rocket launch, and this Tanegashima Space School will held in this month, and each field center has a different character, and so participants of Kakuda office discuss about rocket engine, and Chofu office is Aviation Research Institute. At Hokkaido Daiki Field Center, students talk about air balloon and small rocket. Utilization of observation And Taiki Field Center, also utilization of observation satellite, Tsukuba, yes, Tsukuba Center. Tsukuba Center, our theme is utilization of observation satellite. I'd like to introduce Space School for Families today. This activity deeply reflects our philosophy. The Space School for Families program consists of several gatherings throughout the year called schooling, where the participants, parents, and children learn together about various space-related subjects. This program is unique in providing opportunities for the parents and their children to share time together at home to discuss space-related topics and to conduct experiments as homework. These pictures shows typical scenes that are parents and children making something together on plastic blue tabs spread on the gymnasium floor. The spread blue tabs is a very important environment in these activities. Why do we use spread blue tab? So we think that Space School for Families is providing a great opportunity to deepen the bond between parents and children, and for children to look up to their fathers and mothers. The blue tab has a role to strengthen the relationship between children and parents. Our texts have a unique concept. These learning materials don't usually talk about space or the rocket or the stars. Instead, they start mostly with familiar things, like the natural environment or things that happen around us. It's the core, the heart of Space School for Families. Children see things, they observe phenomena, and they have questions. They always have questions. Finding answers, that is the heart of Space School for Families. Space School for Families is the process of children and their parents working together to find answers. Our first duty is to enrich the bond between parents and children, stronger relationships. More conversations. The parent should be the children's best teacher. It is the concept that all things are connected to the universe. The phenomena surrounding a child is a part of the universe, a connection to space. It's the concept. There are three kinds of spirit that are especially important to the Space Education Center: the spirit of curiosity, the spirit of adventure, and the spirit of craftsmanship. Where do we first see that spirit in children? In the home. That is our concept. The learning materials is just 4 pages. On the cover, we will find an opening and a goal. They are written in the way that motivates the children. Did you notice this? What the question? Let's go find the answer. The topic is clearly stated, and the material works to engage children. As you can see, it uses illustration and mock conversation between parent and children. The body of the material shows children what to do with their observations and questions, things to do, how to do them, what to be careful of. It's very visual. The key idea is for children to try things themselves. The key idea is hands-on learning. The last page is pretty difficult for children to understand. This is the intention because the last page is for the parents. Here, parents can learn about the science behind the lesson topic, how the topic connects to space, and notes on how to teach this better to their children. As I stated before, the parents should be the child's best teacher. We distribute 30 text sheets at once for the first schooling day. Why we distribute so many texts? Because we hope that they have a chance of parents and children's dialogue by looking at various texts. They will try an experiment or an observation or a production together with their conversation. The purpose of these texts is to deepen parent-child relationship. This looks interesting. Why? It seems too difficult. Can we make? Let's make ice cream, or let's make popcorn. So these texts leads to parent and child conversation. Now 106 sets of Space School for Families worksheets have been developed, and 37 then are also available in English. This fiscal year we made 2 new sheets, but only two sheets. 20 members discussed each month, and this is not easy. So because we have a philosophy, and can parent-child conversation be possible, and can children try repeatedly? But we talk about our philosophy. It takes a lot of time to make one material. Next, let's proceed about international activities. JAXA expands space education internationally within the international framework of space organizations. The center has supported the educational activities of Asia Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum, or APR-SAF. APR-SAF has 4 working groups. The aim of space education working groups are: 1, efficiently using space education materials to enhance education for young people. 2nd, providing education and training opportunities for young people in space science and technology. 3, helping enhance mutual understanding among countries in the region through exchange opportunities for young people. We held the APR-SAF 24th meeting in India last year, and this year we will hold the APR-SAF 25th in Singapore. And this year we will hold the teacher seminar in India. The aim is to enhance education's understanding of space science and technology, and to participate in hands-on space education activities. We are developing many teaching materials. Our target is from kindergarten to secondary school. We would like to discuss about new teaching materials with Japanese educators and other countries' educators. Last year, yes, we had teachers seminar in Thailand, and Thailand people said to us they would like to translate Thai language, and we are welcome. And also South Africa agency also they translate they would like to change the photograph, and they remake for African people. Yes, and let me introduce some more activities. We participate in SEEK, or Space Exploration Educators Conference, in NASA Space Center Houston. Every year we provide a JAXA session in SEEK. there are more than 100 workshops in this every February, every year. And this year, we had two school teachers. We recruit teachers who want to join SEEK from all over Japan. We choose two teachers every year and participate in SEEK. And this year, an art teacher of elementary school and a robotics teacher of high school had a workshop. These are sample of evaluation sheets. In our second session, all participants marked excellent. Demonstrations of the quanta effect is described. I teach quanta effect, but had never. Yes. The name of Romanian and the quanta is really great. Yes. And we have repeated discussions, and we have improved these teaching materials. We conducted classes in 2 elementary schools in Houston beforehand SEEK, and we confirmed the reaction of children. Our 2 teaching methods about this year, trust, structure, and wind as fruit, have scientific perspective. We had classes for 1st grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade, and we changed our explanation method according to various grades. So the 1st grade, we tried to simply and easily. So this year, Violetta also useful advice for us. And March 3rd, the 2nd International Space Exploration Forum, or ISEF2, held in Tokyo. And I was in charge of a high school students event named ISEF was a side event of ISEF2. This news is an introduction of high school students studying airplanes flying on Mars. They are studying Magnus wings as one of the new wings of Mars exploration airplane. They made experimental equipment at their high school and conducted experiments. Last year, we recruited participants for SISEF. There were 16 entries from all over Japan. 7 proposals were selected, and one of the judges, Dr. Yurita, and we selected 7 proposals, and nominated high school students wrote their study reports. You can see various things. And last month, we received presentation slides of their ideas, experiments, observations, etc. I asked JAXA experts for cooperation, and some university professors also cooperated. More than 20 professional researchers advised their reports, and every team improved their reports according to professional comments. One researcher said to me, he respects students' effort. Their study reports inspired researchers. High school students stimulated the soul of researchers. I was so happy with such unexpected, fruitful results. So many researchers cooperated. In our the So this is the final slide according to the professional researchers' comment. And so I asked the specialist of asteroid research and the planetary researcher and aviation researcher. Also, many researchers I asked cooperation. So then I would like to provide our education center's video. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay.
JAXA, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, continues to work towards solving the mysteries of the universe. In addition to a variety of research, we also focus our efforts on educational activities, nurturing the development of young people who will help build the future of Japan and play a role in the space industry across the globe. Space ignites the passion in children's hearts. JAXA Space Education Center. JAXA Space Education Center was established in 2005 to provide support for both formal and informal education, along with a family-oriented space school and other activities around the world. In our support for formal education, we collaborate with schools to stimulate the interest and curiosity of school children. Our deep involvement in various aspects of processing, interpretation, and development helps meet teachers' needs for curricula that captivate the attention of growing minds and reveal the rich rewards of space exploration. There are many possible approaches to the study of the universe. These include not only the sciences, but also such fields as sociology, music, and domestic studies. We support the training of teaching staff in conjunction with boards of education all over Japan, with a shared desire for teachers to use space in their own classroom lessons. In our support for informal education, we have developed a progressive self-study program for children that lets them learn at their own pace according to their age. Our programs focus on nurturing children's innate curiosity and sense of adventure through experimentation and experience. They even get the opportunity to touch real spacecraft and equipment at actual aerospace facilities. In addition, we support the growth of leaders who can help conduct aerospace educational activities nationwide, together with JAXA. In our support for education at home, we offer Space School for families, in conjunction with a broad range of local communities and organizations. This multi-part curriculum includes both school and home study, encouraging parents to participate along with their children. We try to reinforce the parent-child relationship and promote interaction by providing parents and children with a means to communicate and do homework together. International activities are a vital part of our mission, promoting communication and international exchange for children around the world. We cooperate with other countries and agencies, particularly in developing countries, to advance space education by participating in various events, as well as providing materials and activities. As an established member of the International Space Education Board, JAXA Space Education Center dispatches selected students to the International Astronautical Congress every year, helping to build communications with students and researchers from other countries. At the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum, we collaborate with others to hold water-raft events, poster contests, and teacher training programs as part of our functions in the Asia-Pacific region.
From JAXA, water rocket education educators manual. I think you have a problem. Okay, 3, 2, 1, launch!
I feel excited. It's great because we'll keep these friends and we'll keep in contact with them, and you know, who knows, we might come and visit Japan again.
JAXA puts a lot of time and money and effort into space education, particularly supporting the countries around the Southeast Asia and East Asia. We're really impressed by the support that JAXA gives to all of those smaller countries that would otherwise struggle.
In addition, the Space Education Working Group holds teacher training seminars every year. We also work with local schools to implement distance learning sessions as a useful resource for the development of space education in each country.
In kids, for example, for children, it's everyone more or less dreams about going into space, and it's the duty or it's the part of the responsibility in space education that we make sure that these kids or these children would be able to achieve their dream of becoming an astronaut or a space scientist in the future.
我々の生活のすべてが宇宙に関係しているというので、宇宙をきっかけに子どもたちがいろんなものに興味を持っていただこうじゃないかということで、それは多分各共通の宇宙という共通の話題だと思うので、そこから先生方が関係者が宇宙を使って子どもたちをこういろいろ刺激してもらって、いろんなものに積極的に取り組んでもらうようになるために JAXA もいろいろ支援していきたいなと思います。
Minds full of curiosity, adventure, and creativity. To stimulate such spirits in children through space education, that is the role of JAXA Space Education Center.
There are many activities we have, and we always do the best, and for the young people and the young generation. Let me introduce institution of ISAS. ISAS is the Institute of Space and Astronautical Science of ISAS. Dr. Sachs commented like this: big questions that space scientists challenge, how creates born on the Earth, right, etc., etc. And so there are many mysteries of the universe, and we have curiosity. Do you have curiosity? Of course, yes. Yeah, and also we have curiosity, and the children also, and so the curiosity and the mystery of the universe stimulate our hearts, not only children, also adults. And our duty is for the young people. And I introduce one more. Yeah. Cindy Harrison and Jolene Kiran showed us the role of teacher leader. You can see finally number 10, Lana. I also learned a lot of things from Romani, and so I precious, and I think the most important thing is learning, and we must be learners as well as educators. So that's all. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sakuraba, and congratulations for JAXA Space Education Center and the activity. I would like to ask the participants if there are any questions. We have a short Q&A session. We have another mic provided for questions, if possible. Mai avem un microfon? Dacă aveți întrebări din sală, avem o scurtă sesiune de întrebări. Tu ești cu microfonul. Avem după fiecare sesiune ca să putem să beneficiem de speaker cu prezentarea proaspătă în minte. Vă asistăm cu traducerea dacă există întrebări, da? Acolo în spate, văd o mânuță ridicată? Nu. Da, mergeți la domnul. We will take some questions.
Sabin Stoica from International Center for Training and Research in Physics. I would like to ask you, this is an extra curriculum program that you presented. How do you implement it in the schools? Children have the regular educational program, and this is an extra program, I understood.
Yes.
Have they time to dedicate to your programs? How do you manage this?
Yes, our school support, Japan has a regular curriculum. We have the regular curriculum, and we usually our best according to regular curriculum, but sometimes the space-related issues expand subjects and integrated many things. So, but basically, we would like to according to the Japanese regular curriculum, and so one moment. It's okay. Yes.
So I.
One thing.
We're going to ask you to do one service for us. A question will be asked, and perhaps you can help. Perhaps the speaker can answer in Japanese, and you can translate.
Thank you.
I think it's
a English speaker. Thank you. And you can ask it in Romani.
ちょっと日本語をお願いします。
はい。質問にそうですね。
Întrebarea, doamna Cadar, întrebarea este așa: dacă programele Centrului de Educație Spațială JAXA fac parte dintr-o curiculă extra școlară sau dacă sunt integrate în curicula școlară pe care o fac. Da, dacă sunt extra, cum le integrează în curicula școlară, existând și factorul de timp, de număr de ore, cum le integrează, și dacă nu este un program extracurricular, atunci cum este el conceput să fie parte din curicula școlară?
Okay. ちょっとルールは学校にありますか？この
そうですね。はい。今一度レギュラーカリキュラムにしたいいですか。宇宙教育は一つのツールなので、the space education is one of the tool, and so basically we would like to according the regular curriculum, but beyond the curriculum and that these classes are one of the we would like to lead to regular curriculum. One that at the beginning of the.
We are not using the space education as an additional curriculum. Instead, we are utilizing the result or tools of this coming from the space science research as an equipment, as a utility, as a tool to enhance the regular curriculum in teaching. For example, when you're teaching the art or teaching the music, it's very difficult for teacher to create a curiosity with the children in learning. And by using the space material, the children almost automatically get interested in it. So its teacher has a much easier time getting a student's attention. And also, through learning about the space material, teacher can understand. Teacher can also learn the meaning of what they're teaching, how the teaching is connected to the real science environment. Teaching about mathematics is also same. By connecting, using the material from the aerospace research, you can add a meaning in what they're teaching. And so you can initiate the students' learning a lot more in a way to connect other curriculum materials. So it's not additional teaching; it's a supplemental teaching material. So this is a particular uniqueness of Japanese space education. We are not teaching about the space; we are teaching with or by the space science research. And in this way, it can spread to much wider audience. Traditional space education is just focusing on concentrating on the science field only. So through science teachers, we can teach about space. But in this approach, we can utilize the music teacher, art teacher, literature teacher, history teacher to teach with space, not about space. That's a major difference.
Thank you.
In the Japanese curriculum, there aren't many space-related issues, and we would like to art and music and language. Various subjects we try to using space.
So, because this is my next question, when you initiate teacher trainings, you address them to all types of teachers, not only STEM teachers, math, physics, chemistry. So they address you address the trainings to arts teacher, literature teacher. Okay, thank you. We have another question.
I'm Koji Yanagawa from National Public Radio Science Department. Do you have any statistics on how many kids followed space career after these kind of trainings?
Or is too early to?
We don't have result, and so we don't have research. But some students became a real scientist and a real engineer. And I introduced the ISEF students, and the event reviewer is astronaut Kimiya Yui, and he said all the students will soon become JAXA staff, and so. But our aim is not only scientists and space engineer, not only science, and some will become a lawyer or artist or everything. We want to various occupation in the future. In the future, we want to learning attitude. We precious.
Thank you. One more question, the final one, with Dr. Sakuraba.
Dragoș Tătaru from the National Institute for Earth Physics. So first of all, of course, congratulations for everything you are doing. It's very important for the next and present generation. My first question was about, can you tell us how many of the JAXA staff, maybe research staff, are involved in educational activities? Maybe not a number, but a percent. And maybe you can refer also how much in a full year they dedicate to development and delivering and doing all this. Thank you.
JAXA staff is 1,500, and the research there are 500. So about 500, and every researcher are very busy, and some researcher said to me, we are very lazy for education, but I showed the sample of SISF. Researchers always thinking cooperation of education, and they want to cooperate for education, but they don't have chance. And my role is coordinator, and I'm the bond of students and researcher. So I don't know, I'm not sure how many percentage, but not so many, but we try to join our activities. We announced the many research, and researchers also want to cooperate our activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sakuraba. A big round of applause for Dr. Sakuraba.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And let me introduce you our next speaker, Mr. Makito Yurita, who is a senior research fellow at the National Institute for School Teachers and Staff Development. And I have to give you another piece of information. I would like to thank the fairy godmother of this excellent conference, and for the opportunity to have a JAXA delegation for the first time in Romania. I would like us to thank Mrs. Violeta Iurita. She is the wife of Mr. Makito Iurita, and she has come to Romania 1 year ago with this idea to test whether a concept from JAXA space education would be possible for Romania. We did it together with Cristian Ionescu from the Institute of Space Science, and with a number of very passionate teachers from 3 schools in Bucharest. We had pilot sessions, and after the success of the pilot sessions, we decided to put all our efforts into bringing the JAXA program for space education in Romania. So a big round of applause for Mrs. Violeta Iurita. Please get up.
Mulțumesc frumos. pentru invitat. My name is Makito Yurita. I don't speak Romanian, unfortunately. That's pretty much obviously. And thank you very much for having us today, and we are very excited to be here. And I'm presenting about, so why that JAXA is doing an education approach, and what's so different about it. And to answer the earlier question that you raised, we have a difficulty saying, bringing in statistics, because we provide education to wider audience, and therefore the base number is huge. And so it's very difficult to keep on track. However, while doing the program for last 15 years, last 12 years, we've been hearing a lot about, oh, I participated in this one when we were a child. Oh, I participated in this one. So we can hear a lot of those stories from the people who are applying to JAXA, and also, people who are working in a space, as a journalist, and etc. So there must be some sort of impact, and we have a difficulty doing a study of that one. And so let me first introduce about why and how the education outreach. And as I say, my name is Makito Yurita, and this is my wife, Violetta. And I'm a senior research fellow at the National Institute for School Teacher and Staff Development, which is a Ministry of Education affiliated research institute for teacher development. And as Dr. Sakuraba mentioned earlier, the JAXA has an education sector separate from the public relations office, which is very unique, actually. It's separated in 2005, and one of the main reasons is that education has, JAXA has to cultivate the public trust, and also, to create the next generation who is not just becoming a scientist, but who also understand the science and who can support the space industry. Because it's, when the nation is going to have a, economic decline and such, of course, there's a public attention, public scrutiny is coming onto the research and the science field. And so why we are spending so much money about it? But, it's easy for us to just go individually to explain why we need a space science, but it's not going to be effective. And therefore, we need to create a population who understand that what is the purpose of investing on the curiosity, what is the purpose of investing on the knowledge. And so we created, JAXA created the Space Education Center. He's a founder of Space Education Center, Dr. Matogawa, who is a very nice guy. And he mentioned about providing education and opportunity not only to elite, but also to the children of all kinds is crucial to build a hinterland. And this idea of hinterland is really important. We oftentimes focus on creating a researcher, creating a top scientist. That's not quite enough, actually, because top scientists move out of the country, and top scientists is very scarce. And we had to create those supporting population who understand what top scientists is, why top scientists are top scientists, why they are special. We need to have a population who understands those. So creating a hinterland where we can find both successor and the supporting public for future space program. And this is the one key concept of Space Education Center. Idea behind. By the way, Dr. Matogawa worked with one of the first satellites Japan launched, and this is the satellite Osumi. And he also mentioned about space exploration. The field of space science and space exploration has resources to ignite people's sense of wonders. We often take it for granted. Everybody gets interested about space, but we have a resource, and those resources has to be delivered to the people. Otherwise, people get bored if they're just waiting to hear. So we have to provide a resource, and we must help people use those resources known for general education. And so, however, this, let me just read it. It would help us prepare future researchers and engineers, of course. However, there should be much greater outcomes when we aim to promote a culture of curiosity, challenge, and collaboration through applying those resources. So Space Education Center's purpose is not just creating an elite of future successors, but creating a culture in Japan. So those people, public, can support the investment and continuing research on the space education, space exploration and space science. So gist of it that, let me clarify the different kind of approach the public relations and the space education education outreach has. This is a traditional public relations. I'm sure that Romania is doing the same things. Many countries does this one. Space program is there, and they do some sort of public lecture, public speech, or a journalist comes to report the news. But and also occasionally that you have a specialist coming directly to the people and talk to the people. Public speech and the news media, and they come when they are interested in particular things. When there's an accident, everybody comes. When some sort of big discovery, everybody comes. But in regular time, they rarely comes, right? So that's why this is a dotted line. And public speech, and some specialists go to the public, only interested public approach to it. So when we have a lecture on the space science, the people who come into the lecture is always the same. And that becomes a big problem because you are not accessing to the public. You're accessing a selective public. And therefore, public relations, the public announcement is important but not sufficient. Therefore, we create an education. Basically, what this concept is a university or municipalities, schools, and JAXA, and they work together. They are collaboratively making a curriculum or resources because JAXA is not a specialist in education. So we need somebody from the education department, university, school, to talk with us, talk with each other, and develop the curriculum. What sort of the way that we can provide a resource? So we generate a resource that earlier you saw Dr. Sakuraba introduced. And then we approach to the family, home education, informal education, and also in school and formal education. We provide a resource and material. And in the public relations, success is measured by how many people attended. If people are satisfied with the lecture, etc., satisfaction level. But if you keep inviting the interested audience, of course they'll be satisfied. If you bring an astronaut, everybody gets satisfied. But it's not, message is not necessarily delivered. The education success is measured by actual learning experiences and outcome. And so this is more intense public relations. So this is another diagram to show the difference between the public relations and the space education. Public relations approach is you spread the seed. Some of the seeds sprout, and some of the sprout you can harvest. So impact becomes less and less as you go further deep. Education-wise, you plant the seed, not spreading the seed. You plant the seed and you tend all the seed that you planted, and then you make sure that all of them takes the root. So it's like a planting a tree, and that is the educational approach of public relations. And this is one particular uniqueness that JAXA is having. And this JAXA's approach started in 2005, May 2005. The Japanese government, the Ministry of Education, put a new responsibility to all the research and the development institute in 2006, I believe it was, in the following year. So we are one step ahead of the government. And so what they are required is we are required scientists and the researchers to do the public outreach. You have to make sure your research outcome is not sufficient as accountability for spending public money. You are spending the public money to do the research and development. You make sure public understand why it's important. And that responsibility is put on the researchers and the institute in 2006. many institutes started to do the public outreach and education outreach. But what they did was they basically added more of this one, public lectures. Scientists go into the public and talk to the public, inviting the public. But that public, as I said earlier, is always selective few, because people who are interested in. So every time you do a public lecture, seems like every time the same people come. So it's not quite access into the public. And so many research institutes have this problem. To show the evidence of it, JAXA was initially doing a similar approach because JAXA is not a specialist in education. So they were increasing, space education center was developed. We are initially providing a lot more opportunity for public to listen to what we are doing. So what happened is this is the data I took from the newspaper. This is how many articles are published in the national newspapers, 2 of the national newspapers, related about the issue about space and space science. On the horizontal axis, the newspaper article printed on the science and technology sections. On the vertical axis is the newspaper article printed in the local and miscellaneous sections. Usually, usually more than 90% of articles are printed in the local miscellaneous section are the articles about JAXA is coming to our town doing a public speech, basically event news. This science section is usually the discovery, what sort of scientific research is conducted, what sort of measurement is done. So as you can see, in 1986, 1989, most of the articles are presented in the science section dominated because JAXA was not doing any public relations. So almost all the article was presented in the science sections. In 1990s was a similar. JAXA started doing the public outreach a little bit, but not education outreach, and still the science section dominated. In 2000 to 2002, this is a little before JAXA, before the merger, is around here, and 2003 to 2015. You can see 2003, before JAXA Space Education Center, its science section started to decline, and public, local section increases, but it's still around here, and later on it goes here. More local news than science news. So people's attention to the space science declined over time. You can see from this area to this area. So decline about 1/3. Right? Increased the event-related news is about increased 4 times. If the public relations and space education was successful, it should go toward this way. More science news, more local news. But we ended up going this way. So that's why we are not so successful in terms of reflection in the newspaper yet. We are, however, started to moving toward this way because we have started to act, do program, design the program differently. We took the data and we review our approach, and we started to change the approach. So we do more of the teacher training because accessing teacher is very effective. We are more emphasizing about creating the local collaborators. Instead of sending a researcher to the local school, we started to create a program to raise the local collaborator. So in this way that we are trying to make this into more of a right side. To gist of it, that we understand that this, for the last 4 or 5 years, we started to understand we need to shift from public understanding of science idea to public engagement with science idea. Space education was initially approaching this one. If we can teach the public would understand about science. But we understand that is not effective. We started to shift to the public engagement with science. We are inviting the public to participate in a discussion using the language of science. So public PUS is basically help public gain the knowledge and skills necessary to understand research and development. Like this formal science education. You don't know, I know, so I teach you. That's the public understanding science. So only people who like to be told that you don't know much coming to you, right? So that's not going to be effective. We started therefore doing citizens. We try to create an education program to make sure the citizens to participate in research and development through dialogue with science. So it's a formal and informal dialogue to seek a mutual understanding. So Dr. Sakuraba mentioned earlier about why we do earlier about example about science space education. It seems like it has a lot of benefit for children, but it has a lot of benefit to the scientists as well, because through participating in education programs, through participating in developing a curriculum, the scientists gain the language to talk to the public. Used to be the scientists can speak only about science language, only the language understood within a community. Now you participate in an education program in which that the elementary school, junior high school students, teachers are coming. Teachers who teach about science or teach about literature is coming. You discuss with those teachers, you started to understand that you have to have a new language to communicate why your research is important and why your research is fun. Right? And to make sure public understand and to make sure you gain a language to for public to understand. And that is a great benefit for the researcher to participate in the space education. And that is what it means public engagement with science. If public understand what you're doing is interesting, and public would support, more likely to support your research and your effort. So this is a shifting a little bit toward the educational impact of it. This is a PISA result of the OECD. This is Romania. PISA is a OECD average 493 score average, and Romania is a 48th of the in ranking. And Japan is we are not trying to brag about it. Second, right? 538 points. This is about average. The important fact here that we need to pay attention is not about the score in itself, but about this part. This is a level 6 is the highest level. Percentage of the students score in the highest level in Japan is bigger. Romania, unfortunately, has 0%. Romania, I know that the Romania education is fascinating because my wife is a mathematician. I know she's smart. And also, I met a lot of Romanian people in America, Canada, and they, because I was in a university community, I know they are very smart and they are very engaging in the public services. But when I saw this result, I was surprised because I saw so many intellectuals who are Romanian. But according to the PISA result, you don't appear here. And Japan is, however, scoring quite high. But we do not think this is enough because we may be high in the PISA score, but we are losing students who can be innovative, who can do innovative work, and who can support an idea of investing on the research. This is a shocking data of Japan, by the way. This is a hopefulness toward the future. These are research on Japan, Korea, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and France and Sweden. This is 13 years to 15 years old, 16 to 18, 19 to 22, 23 to 29. This number is calculated by the percentage of the students whose respondents who are hopeful toward the future, and subtracting the percentage of responders who are not hopeful. As you can see, Japan is constant decline. All other countries, there's up and down, but in Japan, the younger generation, their hope is constantly declining since the junior high school time is the highest, which is still lower than other countries. And the high school is lower, university is much lower, and after the university are lowest. And this is the current situation in Japan. And the nation with this population cannot really sustain the idea toward the future because they are not hopeful for the future. Space science and space exploration requires a population who are hopeful for the future because outcome is far long away. And therefore, we realize we really need to invest on the students who are in this level as well, under this level as well. We need to invest in all students to gain understanding that with curiosity, there's a possibility in the future. With pursuit of possibility requires investment. And therefore, we started to invest on the younger generations. And this is one of the model to show about academic abilities. We tend to understand academic ability in this scale, single scale. This is a smart student. This is a not so smart student, in the right way of saying. But we have to understand that we, in this day and age, in this uncertain world, this sort of measurement is not sufficient. We have to understand the ability of the people as a collective. This is individual ability. But if we are thinking about social strengths, we have to understand in this kind of approach. Students are not only measured by the base knowledge and skills, but also ability for adaptation, and also aptitude for application. So in this way, these students are located in a different scale, three-dimensional scale of ability. You see the students who are not so academically smart, but who are doing very well in life. So they are having a very little opportunity to attain the knowledge, but they use those knowledge to succeed in life. You have some students who are smart, but who use that knowledge only to make money, for example. Like doctors who want to make money, right? But some doctors go into the a very remote village where has no doctor and do the lifelong services. And you have to appreciate those doctors as well. In this kind of three-dimensional scale of ability, we can finally understand about, create an education program that allows them to collaborate. If these three people can collaborate for one goal, or if these three people can collaborate to seek new goals, that we can have a new society. And that's why space education is also try to transform the idea of smartness, because we are trying to see not about raising individual smart students, but we are trying to raise a smart society where the many diverse people with a diverse ability can work together for one goal. And that's the purpose of space education program. So, as you can see here, space used to be everybody had ownership. The space was in a field of imagination. Everybody think about the space and make a story about space. Space was open to everybody. Eventually, through the era of competition and such, this Sputnik is created the era of competition. US and Russia started to compete with each other. And Apollo went there, and eventually space became the ownership of astronauts and the Space Science Institute. And now we have started to try to utilize the space, but the space becomes a commodity for specialists. When it's making it commodity for specialists, we're excluding all other possibilities, all other public. And however, in today, we started to see the era of diversification. There's a lot of private investment in space. They go into a private side. And also, we also have a competition as well. So space becomes a more, we don't know which way we are going from now on. More privatized or more public money into it. You know, this is a space for opportunity. So we really have to think about how we can expand opportunity. Instead of making a space as a commodity for the few specialists, we have to also understand about possibly opening up the space. And in this way, we can have a lot of dialogue with the public, including the people from the literature and the music, of course. Then we can create a new idea how we can utilize the space. And in this way, the scientist has more space to work with, because opportunity enlarges when we invite people. New imagination coming into, and therefore with the new imagination, you have a more place to utilize those imagination, making it true. And that's where the science and the engineering can come as a tool, not as a goal. So Space Education Center, as Dr. Sakuraba mentioned earlier, works in a diverse approach, not only to the teaching an elite student, but also training the teachers, creating a public who can work in their field, and also creating home education, family education, and social education as well. Let me have just order. Romania, however, is, let me apply the situation in Romania. I work with OECD also, so I took a lot of documents from OECD. And Romania has a very success model, by the way. There's a lot of good news. One of the fastest growing economy in the European Union. I was surprised arriving in the airport because it's become bigger and cleaner. And GDP growth level is consistently higher than EU average. Low unemployment rate, and the investment and productivity are on the rise. So Romania has been undergoing a rapid transformation. However, if the population is following to those changes, it's not necessary. Romania attains major changes, major improvement by leaving a large mass of population, particularly in the rural area, behind. This is a challenge that we need to face. And for example, 1/5 of young adults are NEET. NEET means not in education, employment, or training. Basically, do nothing. That means 1/5 of population are not well utilized at this point. And that's become a problem. And the highest income inequality in European Union. 1/4 of Romania is on the verge of poverty, and half of Romanian children are on the verge of poverty. So Romania definitely has a problem also, and that's why we need to have space education or Space Science Institute can help creating helping a teacher or helping a population to get more motivated in learning, motivated to make an investment in science. If you continue in this sort of disparity, eventually they come into the public voice and why do we invest in the space program? Why do we invest in the scientific research? We need to create a population who support us. We cannot ditch the population. And that's one of the main reasons JAXA entered into the space education. I think that Romania and many other countries have a similar problem at this point. This learning outcome is Romania has Romanian teachers are working very hard, and the education department is doing a good job. Significant improvement on the mean performance in science between 2006 to 2015. So Romania is one of the few nations that increased the science performance level in the last 2006 to 2015. And also, average 3-year trend shows a significant improvement across all subject areas in PISA, Romania. So Romania made a bigger achievement. So education sector in Romania is doing actually a very good job. And I think that by Science Research Institute and such supporting and working together, I think it can continue making a great progress. However, that is not quite enough, because as you can see here, this is very small, so difficult to see. This is Japan, and this is Romania. What it means is here is a, yeah, I'm trying to tell you actually right now. You see, my wife is impatient with me all the time. Okay. So this is a lower than OECD average. Romania has a large portion of people in the lower than OECD, not OECD average, I mean level 3 of the PISA. This is the people who are higher than level 5. Romania has very little, actually, almost none. And this is a major problem. Yeah, you have an elite population. However, you do not have enough elite population. And actually, it's not because it's not that you don't have enough. Actually, people are. Let me just go forward anyway. So, and this is the current result. You have a very little population who is making a higher achievement in PISA. And this is a space budget international comparison. United States has a 61.1%, China 9.5%, Russia 8.2%, Japan is the fourth, 5.6%. Imagine that if you keep investing only to those elite, where are they going to? Of course, they would go to here because they have a lot of money. They pay you very good, and a lot more opportunities available. And Romania is actually not opening, Romania is not publicizing how much money you are spending for the space science, and therefore it's not in this list. But I don't think it's going to be here, right? So in that way, if you keep educating elite, basically what we are doing is we are spending our money to train other people's scientists, other people's engineers. And that is a great loss of investment. We have to also understand about three-dimensional academic achievement. We also have to create a mentality of people, okay, we want to invest our life in here also. So that's why we have to make ourselves visible. The Romanian scientists, Romanian institutes, they have to be visible in Romania. So this is what we are doing, this is what we are investing, and this is how we are approaching to you, public, right? So if you are making those things visible throughout their life, from the elementary school to junior high school and such, there is a more possibility to people understand that there is a possibility in this country. And Japan is also trying to do the same. We are showing this sort of things we are doing. We are not just launching a rocket. We are also doing this sort of research. We are using our data to contribute to our life in this kind of way, so people can understand, diverse people can understand, okay, we can also work in this field. We can also work with space science. And why I'm saying this one is because I have this data, and I'm sure you have this data. So Romania is undergoing negative population growth since 1990s. And you obviously know what happened right before this one. So constant decline. And I also made this graph. This is how much percentage of population change from previous year. So it reflects what happened the previous year. So 1990 is here, and Romanian Revolution happened December 1989, and 1991, 1992, it's constantly declining. And this is when Romania joined the European Union in 2007. So 2 years after, year after, 2 years after, no, this is 2008, right? So 2008 population decline reflect what happened in 2007. So basically, in 2007, 2.4% population decrease. So you can see that the people are seeking opportunity outside of Romania. This is the birth rate and death rate is not much changed in Romania. I mean, it started to decline the birth rate, but it's not significant change. without having those numbers, without not having a significant change in the birth rate and the death rate, but population decline constantly, that means people are moving out. So it is important for Romania and for Japan also to work together how we can create a community, a culture that is investing in the science, investing in the research, and not only that, investing on the community in which that we are working together. We are living together. So JAXA Space Education is also focusing about community building. And therefore, you saw that the family education, people sit in a blue seat together. So kids are taught by parents. So we are empowering the parents to become a teacher of the children. And we are also setting them in the same blue seat. And in that way, parents are working together how they can better teach the children. In this way, we are try to create a community of parents. And through creating a community of parents, we are eventually trying to raise them as a local leader of space education. That's why we do a local leader training program of space education, creating a local leader so they can organize education program for us. We provide the resources, they are doing it. So we don't need to spend so much resource, human resource, to do the public outreach. So we have a lot of people who do the public outreach for us. In this way, we can save our investment money, right? Then we are also training the teachers. We are helping teachers develop the curriculum, adapt the curriculum to incorporate the space issues in the curriculum. Then teacher can become the local facilitator, teaching children about how space can relate it to their subject, how the space can relate it to their everyday life. So this is the kind of public outreach program that Japan Space Exploration Program is doing. That is quite a different approach that many other space institutes and research institutes are currently doing. So this is still a new approach. We are taking a lot of data. And so far that our data seems that it is making a very positive impact. And last year we figured out it is better to do this sort of program for younger generation as well, younger kids as well. So we are trying to develop the program for kindergarten teachers, training a kindergarten teacher to use the certain space science research result as a medium to educate the kindergarten students as well. So this is still currently developing, and we are hoping that we can contribute to, we can make a contribution to Romania, and also we are hoping that we can learn a lot from Romania as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Masimo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yurita.
Thank you.
Questions? Do we have questions? Here. Professor Mironov is one of Romania's most active and famous promoters of science, even before 1989.
Science fiction writer, which means I can read from words. Sakura-san, Yurita-san, Yanagawa-san, allow me to welcome you with an ancient Japanese expression. Hajimete o me ni kakarimasu. Which I want to translate in Romanian. It's expressing yourself. Traduc acest how do you do pe care l-am spus lor, ca să înțelegeți cum gândesc ei. O câtă plăcere îmi face să prind coada privirii nobilului dumneavoastră ochi. Well, from what you have presented up to now, we understand that JAXA and this section of education for space is spreading microbes for getting out of Earth, for getting inside the solar system, for infecting people around you with the idea that we have to get out. So I shall ask you straightforward 3 questions. First, when do you think a Japanese will put foot on the moon? Second, the same question for Mars. And third, make a forecast in the year 2100. how many Earthlings will be out of work somewhere in the solar system? Thank you.
I think that the question must be better answered by Mr. Yanagawa here, who is working with the engineering program, and I think he is going to mention about that in his presentation. And my answer to it is that it's up to our politicians. I think we have if we put enough resource in it, we can do it very quickly. Japan still has the money, but the problem is that we have a difficulty convincing politicians to understand the importance of putting money into the research in the science. And also why the politician is not well supporting is because the population thinks, why we put the one person into the moon? We could better spend that money for hospitals. We can better spend that money for feeding the poor. True.
Helium-3. Yeah. Helium-3.
No, but we cannot just say it's difficult to make a public understand that. Investing on education, investing on the knowledge, investing on the curiosity and research is actually making more benefit. We are launching a rocket, not just launching a rocket, but launching a rocket, we spend the money for the researcher, we spend the money for engineers, educators, or manufacturers, and also McDonald's people as well, because researchers go out to eat. So we are making a big public investment. However, that the public have a difficulty understanding, and therefore I have to say, when the moon, etc. I think my answer would be, we could do it at any time, and our Prime Minister just recently said that he is going to put the man into the moon. He said. I don't believe him. But so it's up to the politician, and if it's up to the politician, it's up to the public. And it's up to the public. What we can do is we cannot just spend the money to convince a politician. It's easier to convince the public, to make public understand that what we are doing is actually making a greater impact in our life, not just sending a person to the moon. So that's our approach, and I think that's be my answer to. And I think a detailed answer can be provided by Mr. Yanagawa later. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Radu Vasilache. I'm from Canberra Packard, a company dealing with radiation measurements. Thank you very much for an impressive presentation. I have a very short question. Your philosophy of moving from PR to education seems very impressive and very effective. Did this philosophy translate also to other scientific Japanese agencies, for instance, to the Japanese Atomic Energy Agency?
I hope so, and it's very slow in process. I started to write about journal articles recently in last 2 years, and it's getting attention, and I think it's going to be shifting. And some of the research institute contacted me to get some advice about this sort of approach. But recently I changed my job to the Ministry of Education affiliated research institute. And therefore, it's becoming a little bit difficult for me to participate. Before that, I was a university professor. So at the time, I was much more free to go anywhere. But right now, I'm working with the ministry, so it's my freedom becomes a bit limited. But it's getting a good attention. And I think that it's the right way to move, I think. And I'm currently working with an advisor with JAXA's space education program. So through JAXA, I'm trying to approach to the other research institute as well. JAXA becoming a model anyways. Thank you.
One final question.
Actually, I have 3 small questions in one. First of all, you didn't mention anything about the press. So how do you use the press to reach the public? Mm-hmm. Secondly, how much is your budget? Are you funded from JAXA straight? JAXA's budget is around $2 billion, if I'm not wrong. How much is your budget? And thirdly, do you collaborate with similar educational program programs in space? Because I know ESA has an ESERO. You have here some representatives from ESERO, also from the Romanian Space Agency representatives. So how do you collaborate with other similar programs?
Okay,
thank you.
I can answer I can answer one of the questions. One question I think Mr. Sakuraba can answer, because JAXA's budget is his knowledge, and so he can answer the question. And I used to work with Mr. Yanagawa until last year with the JAXA's PR program, measurement of PR impact and etc., public relations programs impact. We didn't mention anything about the press, because press is a matter of PR section. Education sector is a PR, press is coming sometimes, once in a while, particularly in the local newspaper, local TV station, almost always comes to the JAXA space program. But PR is not, press is not our primary interest. Press is JAXA's PR office's interest. Space education office is separated from the PR program. So that's why that we didn't mention anything about PR, because that's a different approach. And one was what? Collaboration. I think that's also Dr. Sakuraba's point, because I personally, as I mentioned earlier, right now my hands are very much tied. If somebody wants to hire me in the future, please, I'm always open to possibilities. I don't have much opportunity to work with other space institute at this point, because all the contacts goes to space JAXA directly, not to me. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? There's one more question. Okay.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming here. This is a historical moment for us. And like any important moment in history, there are very powerful women behind the scene. So thank you, Anna. Thank you, Violeta. I understand that it is extremely important in a democracy to have an educated population, because it is not only the power of the politician that we speak of, the politicians as a representative. They are the representative of the population, so if the population is educated and it supports space science and space exploration, it is, yes, it is fine. But if it is not, then the same wheels of the democratic powers will work against us. So I wonder, since you are leading a leading power in this education program, do you have plans to organize like international education camps for anyone from students to local representatives that you mentioned that can teach kids and professors and not necessarily scientists but representatives of the population?
I see. Yeah, I see. JAXA is doing about APR SAP and the international program, I think, but however, that is mainly more of science focused. Yes, and I think that I'm sure Dr. Sakuraba can answer that question, but I think that it is more in need, and we are opening up we are also trying to develop ourselves into it. I think that's a great idea. To have an international forum or international symposium and such that where the representative population come together and develop the educational program and participate in educational.
Yes, because symposium. You would lead internationally. I mean, you'd spread this good idea through all the world.
That's right. So I think, but however, at the same time, it costs a lot, and therefore we have to figure out the way that we can do it online. We can do it some sort of online tools to create those. I mean, so for Romania is very advanced in fact, very advanced in terms of use of online resources. So in that kind of way that I'm hoping that we can collaborate. So Romania can develop the infrastructure, and in which that we can also participate and provide the resources where we can create the hub of the learning network. I think that's why it's important for those international people to get together and discuss an idea, so we can create a new thing. That's what actually the PES is about: public engagement with science. we have a lot of people together, getting together, so we can get the new ideas that we didn't think about, and we can materialize. When we materialize in it, we use science and technology as a tool. So not as a mean, but as a tool. So in that way, the science and science and the engineering, people with a science and engineering background has more place to act. I think that we are actually doing what exactly you are talking about.
Yes, exactly, because not using science as a tool can be done not only by researchers and institutes, but NGOs as well, and more the general population can do it too, you see.
And
So many other elements of the
also
society
diverse
can
level of scientists can work. Not only top scientists, but the medium level scientists can
Yes,
also participate in the work together. And so scientists are not only top people. There's a majority, diverse range of scientists. Engineering is also same. So all those people can come mobilized to work for a certain goal. And in this way, that we can utilize the social resource much wisely, and there's a more possibility of social development and innovation. So I think that's a good idea, and looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yurita. Da, haideți să facem o pauză de 5 minute, dacă sunteți de acord, pentru că vedem că se îndesește traficul pe ușă. Înainte de ultima prezentare, suntem... imediat vedem și ceasul. Este 11:30, vă așteptăm înapoi la 11:40, 10 minute, da? Ca să aibă toată lumea timp la toaletă. We will have a short
もう終わっちゃった。すごい公演の後だからちょっと。
Bine ați revenit! Reamintim participanților, dacă nu au făcut-o la începutul conferinței, să se înscrie pentru a primi și diploma de participare și mapa. Chiar aici, la măsuța din exterior, vă așteptăm după finalizare. Welcome back again. Thank you, Dr. Yanagawa, for bearing with us for a longer than expected break. Mr. Yanagawa is a former director of Human Space Technology and Astronaut Department. What you have to know is that JAXA, being the third or fourth space power, the fourth space power in the world, has a very special task and expertise of making the concept, building and delivering all that is necessary for astronaut life. This is the great speciality of JAXA in the space technology environment in the world. And Mr. Yanagawa will tell us more about how this is applied to space education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Koji Yanagawa, and I'm very pleased to be here and to make a presentation to you. Title is Open Gaze into Space, but originally it was made for the Japanese student. So hopefully they will be a supporter of activity, and also in the future our successor of activity. And let's see. It's just spice from space. First of all, profile. I was born in 1955, almost same with your age. I don't think it's okay. But I majored in physics in my university and graduate school. But all of a sudden, I decided to go to NASA, 1977. And in my student, I studied the cryogenic materials using the liquid nitrogen. So that's the reason why I go to the rocket engine. It uses liquid nitrogen or liquid oxygen for propellant. And then moved to space experiment, and after JAXA, I moved to manned space activity, and finally, I moved to public relations department. I think that's the reason why I'm here now. But anyway, and I have already retired from JAXA, and hobby, lots of hobby. But anyway, this picture is the engine development era. This guy, very young, it's me, 20s. So this is engine of its name is LE5. And it's a thrust level 10 ton and very good. And first launch of this engine was 1986. And it has already launched 50 times, but only one failure, but still a good engine. And this is my motto. When I get my position in NASA, Mr. Shima is the president of NASA. And he used to be a very good railway engineer, and his words is very good. The Shinkansen bullet train system will not have an accident because I made it not to do so. It's very confident. Actually, we don't have the accident for 55 years. And these are the current bullet train. So very useful, very popular system in Japan. And he mentioned that the first time when I entered the NASA, he mentioned that the latest technology is unnecessary for space development. Create the reliable system with established technology. When I hear this phrase, I made a misselection because I want to do something new in this organization, but this was against my desire. But anyway, after 40 years, this was correct. Because of the space, we have to succeed 99.7% out of 100. So that was very really true. For example, this word is used in NASA, like the thermometer, but the technology readiness level. When we find out the ideas, it's very low level. So we need to establish, level up, step by step, confirm, test, and actual analysis, and using a bigger model, and the reliability, durability, and the repeatability. Then test flight. So that's the world of the space, I think. It's my personal opinion. So this is my experience. This is the very beginning of the development phase of LE5 engine. And this portion, black line, it's very, we had a very severe trouble at the beginning. And actually, it comes from the engine burnout, because we couldn't predict the local mixture of the propellant. So it comes out the burnout of this portion. So this material, A286, it comes from the latest material, similar to the space shuttle main engine. But we changed to the conventional nickel material. This problem has disappeared. So that's the one story of my experience. And we set the reliability level, confidence level 60 and 0.9935. In order to get those numbers, we conducted the test, burning test of more than almost 400, and accumulated burn time to 20,000. Very lots of test firing. This is the trajectory of our struggle. They're changing the material from here to then, and then another trouble, ignition failure or vibration of a rotation machine. But anyway, we overcome. And today, I'd like to explain these three topics. First of all, space. Oh, sorry. Let me introduce one Japanese, uchu, universe, which means the universe. This is a very famous picture, Milky Way galaxy, and we are here now. And this word actually come from the old Chinese book, Nanji. And this portion, it means that the time from Big Bang to the present is Chu. And expansion of the space. So this word, which is a very big one. And okay, let's go to the space activities. Actually, we have lots of activities. So I try to separate groups into 4 groups using a 2-axis ground, space, manned, and unmanned. And first one is going to space and Earth observation and explore space and habitat in space. And the first one, go to space. Propulsion system. This is a picture taken in H2 launch vehicle near our launch site, Tanegashima, night launch. It's a very beautiful picture, but anyway. We have our current propulsion system, H2B. This launch vehicle is very good compared to the another one, Russian, American, Europe, ESA, and China, the performance is very good. High world-class performance and high success rate, but unfortunately, it's expensive, almost double compared to the other one. So right now we are changing, developing of H3 new version of rocket, almost same size but make cheaper. In order to the cheaper, we changed the propulsion system. This one is very high performance, but a little bit expensive. So we use the newly developed LE9. It's the same family with the LE5. It's very reliable and very not expensive. So this is our activity currently, and we will fly 2020 very soon. And also we adopted a new technique, simulation. In the development of LE's former engine, we have a trouble with the cavitation performance or vibration or rotation. So we adopted the numerical simulation routes. And this is another contribution to International Space Station, Konotori. It can carry 6 tons of payload to ISS, and we have already conducted 6 times, and they succeeded consecutively, and will be operated till 2024, the end of the ISS. This one. And this is the picture movie of the launching. So please see. No, it doesn't work. Anyway, it will go up. Actually, what? あ、ダメだ。Sorry. マウス。ちょっとこれでやってみるかな。Sorry about that. Oh, it works. They are now counted countdown.
All citizens. メインエンジンスタート。メインエンジン一緒に。RBA トーク。SRBA 希望に達した最宇宙ステーション補給機コウノトリ2号機を搭載した H2B ロケット号機は23年1月22日。
But actual launching is very smooth.
We had a liftoff of the H2B launch vehicle number 2 with the Konotori 2 on board from the Tanegashima Space Center at 2:37 p.m. on January 22, 2011, Japan Standard Time. 打ち上げ以降、管制は吉信発射管制塔から竹崎総合司令塔に引き継がれています。After liftoff, the launch vibration control shifted from the block hub to the range control.
After launching almost 50 hours, they are docked to the ISS and carry the main type of payload. It's an exposed facility. Okay, next one is Earth observation. Very simple, easy example is weather forecast. This is a chart of Japan. Every day I see and decide whether I carry the umbrella or not, but anyway. When I was young, this weather focus was done with the data from the radar. This radar is put on the top of the highest mountain, Mount Fuji in Japan, but unfortunately it doesn't cover the Japan. So we decided to make use of the satellite, weather focusing satellite, Himawari. In 1977, when I entered the NASA, we don't have the huge launch vehicle, so I asked NASA to launch the satellite, Himawari. But this size, first generation, but currently we have the 8th generation, size bigger and weight is heavier, and the data is very changed. We have lots of data sets, so we can do very lots of stuff. It's one example. Using the fluid dynamics and the supercomputer, we can calculate the wind direction and the speed all over the world. So it's very good. So we can rely on the weather forecast currently very well. And another example is the GPS. I guess you also use the car navigation system in daily life, but currently I cannot imagine the driving without car navigation, using the data and decide the position. And actually, our ISS also use this GPS system, launching from the Tanegashima, and navigation and the docking. We use this data, GPS data system. And this is a very recent activity of JAXA. We put another satellite system, Michibiki. Normally we use the GPS, but we add the Michibiki system. So both GPS and the Michibiki system, we can calculate our position very precisely. Put the 4 of Michibiki satellite into geostationary orbit, and current measurement is almost order of a meter. But with using this Michibiki system, we can decide the accuracy, get the accuracy of a centimeter order. Very good one. I hope that we will have a new world using this Michibiki system. Okay, next one, explore space. One question. Does alien exist? Yes. I have 4 options. I'd like to make a poll here. 1, absolutely not. Nobody. 2, I guess not. No. I hope so. Or a little bit. Obviously, yes. Oh, you are very good at space. I understand. Very good one. Yes. Planetary exploration has a few objectives, and one of them is to know formation of the solar system and how the Earth was born, and the third one, possibility of life. And we send lots of probes from Pioneer to Kepler, or this one. And this one, Hayabusa, it's Japanese made. And the same with Mr. Sakuraba-san, but launched in 2003 and visited the one and returned 2010. And this is a small portion of the this asteroid, and a very small one, but still it's very important for scientists. So it was used the top page of the science. And we have already done the second phase, Hayabusa 2. This time we are aiming to Ryugu. It's a kind of chondrite asteroid to seek a touch of life. But anyway, I launched in 2014. Oh, sorry. Movie doesn't work, so sorry. Okay, it works. She is now moving to the Ryugu, and she will reach the Ryugu this summer and make research for 1 year, and then return to Earth. And 2020, the year of Olympic, Tokyo Olympic, they will return. So I hope she will bring something good to us. And this picture is a very latest picture taken by Hayabusa 2. This is Ryugu, and the distance is 1.3 million kilometers. So almost she finished. She reached the Ryugu. And you know, this one is very famous, popular. We are here, sun, and we are here. And this blue zone is called the habitable zone. Ground is soil, and the water is liquid and moderate energy. We need three conditions in order to survive ourselves. So they try to find out the same second Earth, and this probe Kepler is a very good one, and she succeeded to find out more than 4,000 to check this one. The method is very simple. Measure the flux and decrease and the width and depth. We can calculate the existence of the second Earth. And this is one approach. And we have another approach. This is TMT, 30-meter telescope, putting the Hawaii Island. And this system just measure the light from the sun and investigate the existence of atmosphere or water, and finally analysis for life. And to 2027 we'll get the answer. So at that time we can get a more precise actual possibility of life existence. Okay, next one, habitat in space. You know this phrase, very famous. We choose to go to the moon. The president of United States, Mr. Kennedy, he made this one, and in 60s, American Neil Armstrong arrived at the moon, and he stayed 24 hours and 2 hours EVA, and sorry.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Very famous word, but I like this one very much because it's the activity of humankind. So good one. So anyway, they also did a lot of experiment. I will show you the one experiment. This one, this gentleman, very famous. He did an experiment on Earth. And this gentleman did the same activity on Moon. Yeah.
In my right hand, a hammer.
Hammer.
I guess one of the reasons we got here today was because of a gentleman named Galileo a long time ago, who made a rather significant discovery about falling objects in gravity fields. And we thought that where would be a better place to confirm his findings than on the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that? That proves that Mr. Galileo was correct.
Galileo is correct. He mentioned that. So the reason why I introduced this event is science. The appearance is a very important factor, and same result by anyone, anywhere, and anytime. It's very important. He did it on the moon, so I like this experiment. And current, we did ISS program, and let's see. This is JAXA's contribution to ISS. Its name is KIBO. It consists of the pressurized module and exposed module, and air access door, and robot arm, and also the storage area. So we call it the all-in-one system, but it's very useful for us. And let's see. This is a new activity, microsatellite deployment from KIBO. And we have already done more than 100. NASA uses this system very often. Because this is a very typical example, deployment of the space elevator element, and also the deployment of a thin resin film for future solar generation system. So both are done by a Japanese university. Carrying the satellite using the on a conotory and the final checkout before deployment and deployment.
Good deploy, good deploy, good deploy.
Very easy to deploy. So another direction.
Good deploy.
And this is very recent activity between JAXA, Japan, and Turkey. They bring this small satellite, and I guess this satellite will soon release from ISS. And this is a report from Koichi Wakata. He is a very good guy, and he had already stayed in space 4 times.
To really get to experience everything that they're experiencing inside the International Space Station. And we know that the space station is 250 miles up. So let's get a better sense of what that exactly means. Finally, 250 miles above ground destination, the space station. We can see Koichi right over our shoulder. The International Space Station is heading over eastern Russia, and that's Koichi Wakata, the space station's commander, who really has the best window on the world. He is in what is called the cupola. So Koichi, can you take us down into that cupola?
Hello, Soledad. There's a great view up here.
This is the cupola where we have 7 large windows to see the beautiful home planet. We're flying over East Russia now, just above the Komsomolsk-on-Amur area. Let's take a look.
That is beautiful.
50-year-old Koichi Wakata is the first Japanese astronaut to command the ISS. Koichi worked as an engineer for Japan Airlines before joining the Japanese space agency JAXA in 1992. To make it as an astronaut, he had to move from Japan to Houston, where he now lives with his wife Steffi and 15-year-old son Akio.
He's very funny, has a lot of humor, is very active, very curious about life.
Koichi has now clocked 287 days in space, and 5 years ago was the first Japanese ISS resident. Mornings at 7. Life on the space station means no singing in the shower.
Cannot have shower, so we just use this wet hygiene towel to wipe our face and body.
3 tons of water is delivered by rocket every year at a cost of more than $60 million.
So refreshing. Sometimes I add a little water.
Nothing must go to waste, so NASA has a system to recycle everything possible. Whether from Koichi's space shower or anywhere else. Even their own urine will eventually become drinking water. It's vital for survival. Less vital, clean clothes. At $10 a drop, laundry is out of the question, so don't expect too many wardrobe changes from these astronauts.
Here we have a 2-week brick of clothes, 2 t-shirts for sleeping in or just kind of working. We have 2 pairs of socks. And we have 7 pairs of drawers. Those have to last us 2 weeks. I'll let you do the math on that.
Astronaut has a little bit of space to call his own.
My crew quarters here, Rick's crew quarters. The size is similar to the old telephone box. And when you open the door, you can get in there. Not very big, it's actually quite small, but it's a great place to keep your personal item. Which is very comfortable. The sleeping bag is fixed to the wall so that I don't float away.
Unfortunately for me, I'm actually a little too tall for this crew quarter, so I actually have to stretch my sleeping bag out at an angle so that I don't have my head up against the ceiling.
I can call personal calls to the ground, which is very nice to be able to talk with my family and friends.
It's a great place to just come in here and unwind and relax. And when it's time to go to sleep, we simply close the doors and see you in the morning.
Food is very important in space, and getting the nutrition, also the communication.
Eating in space is its own kind of fun. But keeping astronauts fit and healthy is a serious business. 1,300 miles away, an orbital's Cygnus resupply module is being loaded with the freeze-dried food. And it's time for a few last-minute food luxuries.
These are the tortillas. They're very popular on orbit.
After a daily routine of freeze-dried meals, a piece of fresh fruit is a welcome relief. Well worth its weight in gold.
So as you can see, we're only sending 3 apples. So you may think that's unfair because we have 6 people on orbit. They may have to share.
This very precious cargo is one of the last things to be loaded onto the rocket.
It's on its way.
3, 2, 1.
The carrier is the Cygnus, a very famous object.
2 days later, Cygnus docks with the space station.
We're getting ready to birth the Cygnus 1 vehicle.
All right.
Looks really good. Perfect.
Perfect. All right. Bonus food.
Including some surprise treats from their families.
Wow. Look at that. Tortilla. The real tortillas.
Look at that. Little tortilla.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness gracious. The greatest hot dog relish in the history of man. Oh my gosh, my wife didn't tell me about this.
What is it like to use the bathroom and stuff?
He explained how to manage the water program.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm in the Node 3 module now, and this is our toilet. I will show it how it works. Actually, the basic principle of how it works is like a vacuum cleaner. And as you can see, there are 2 suction pipes. One is for urine here, and the other one is here for the solid waste, so that the things do not float away. And here you can see a funnel. Aiming is everything here. And we have wipes, different types, dry wipes here and wet wipes. On board the station, in this module of Node 3, we have water recovery system. And actually, the urine collected here in this toilet will be recycled into potable water together with the condensate water. So, as our colleague astronaut Mike Barrett gracefully put it, on board the space station, we turn yesterday's coffee into tomorrow's coffee.
Wow, that is kind of a nice way to put what you're
very
actually
elegantly.
talking about. It doesn't look like a very big space.
Actually, the toilet was made of the Russian, but it's still trouble. So he is good at repairing the toilet.
We often get to work on the repair work here.
Oh, fun. That sounds like a really big upside of space. All right, Koichi, thanks so much.
So, okay, this is the one experiment using this is actually the case of the food. So he tried to grow this area. So what will happen? For auction, nothing happened. Flow forward, spreading was stick to one. Which one? You? Select one. No idea?
Three.
Three, okay. Okay, 4, 3. See? Oh, stick to one. See? This is very similar to an airplane. This is a Japanese-made MRJ. It's hard to fly, but anyway. The concept is the same with that one. When we get a wind, the speed different and the pressure difference, and it's called the lifting force, and we call it Bernoulli's theorem. But anyway, same with that experiment in space. Okay, this is the typical another famous experiment in space. Flame of candle. What happened? So you know that this is very well. The shape has changed. The reason is on ground we have the convection, but in space we don't have convection, just the diffusion. So the differences come from the convection and the diffusion. And the space experiment normally use this principle. Protein crystallization in space, very simple experiment kit, but use this phenomenon, and we get to the high resolution and reduce the twin crystal dramatically. So we try to get to the protein crystal. You know that in addition to that, we make the more quiet circumstance and more precise analysis and faster. In space, get a good crystal and analyze using this spring age system and drug design using the supercomputer. So I hope in future this ring will work and get a good drug. And we also do art activity. This is the spiral top, the very beautiful picture proposed by one professor in Japan, and it's very simple. Sorry. Oh, it works. Just rotate the spin and shift from the rotation between axes. So it shows a little bit complex motion. Another one is Earth observing. One artist put lots of drops in front of the window, and you can see the Earth, each drop. So it's a multiple Earth. So new world. And right now our astronaut Kanai is now on orbit, and he explained his activity. What it's a heart of harmony. And every time I recommend the Japanese young kids to see. This is a very recent activity. He did extravehicular activity very well and good result. And recommend them to see the ISS. See, it comes. This is ISS, very bright and very fast compared to the moon, almost same brightness. See. Okay, finally, future activity. Why space? I have asked many times, why space? Why Japanese? So very tough question to answer. But this is very good. Famous guy, famous man, Socrates, he mentioned that man must climb to the height above the Earth where atmosphere runs out. Then we understand perfectly the world. Need to have the perspective of the space. It's very important. And also, one Japanese answered. He also answered, why science? And Mr. Sato, Professor Sato is very famous for the equation, Einstein universe equation. And he explained why science very easily. 4 perspectives for find a relationship between the science and the society. First one is interesting. Gave us the surprise and impression, and usefulness also important because we are now the institutional science era, so usefulness is very important. And the third one is challenging activity to acquire new values and self-realization. And the fourth one is civil integrating activity. You know, in Olympic Games or understand very easily. These 4 words is very important. So when I explain this concept to young people, I simplified like this. 4 perspective connecting space and society. First one, interesting. Finding aliens is very easy to understand. And the usefulness, good for our daily life, is also important. And the challenging activity. You know this one. Very famous in Japan right now. Skating game. Speed skating. Yes, right. we won a gold medal in the Pyeongchang. But anyway, challenging activity. And the fourth one is unify us, act together to sustain the Earth. Those 4 concepts, perspective is very important to understand why we better to go to space. Anyway. Okay, and I asked the young people to make own space using the 4 words, interesting, useful, challenging, and unify. Anyway, make your own space. It's my personal opinion, but anyway, lots of ideas, space elevator or habitat or hotel, space hotel. Anyway, lots of ideas, but I skipped this chart. Then, okay, final portion. I would like to introduce you the very famous good word. Perspective from the point of the universe. He is a Buckminster Fuller, American scientist. He is very famous for make this operating manual for spaceship Earth. And in the book, he explained the importance of the combination of three planets: Sun, Moon, and Earth. Combination of those three is very important. And one more thing. Currently, we have 7 billion humans on Earth, and he insisted that there is no passenger or crew. They have to do own activity in order to keep the Earth. Okay. Okay. See, this is a picture from the space ISS. You are familiar with this geography? So you can find your town just in front of Jupiter. So anyway, I want you to find the connection between space and yourself. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yanagawa. Very impressive presentation. I'm really happy. A Japanese scientist succeeded to present Romania in such a favorable light. If we have any questions for Mr. Yanagawa, please. Yes. One question. Oh, to begin with.
I have two questions actually. My first question is related to astronauts.
Astronaut, okay.
And
okay.
I want to know, besides the physical qualities and besides the, of course, excellence in a particular type of specialty, what kind of qualities should a person have or think of developing if they would be wishing?
Working in space is very, not hard, complex, but I can say that he never do with by myself. So he need to work together. So working
Teamwork.
together is very important. So which means that everybody, you also, I would like to work with him, but I don't like to work with him. The important factor is working with him. Get some agreement or some contract. Yes. Cooperate, yes, that's right. That's a very important first thing. And
the second is.
Before second question, I just wanted to add one thing. He developed a space education program that mocking, that's coming from the astronaut selection process to see that, to measure the collaborative skill of the people. And he's also taking the data about those education program and applying to develop the curriculum around it. It's quite interesting.
Thank you for your help.
I have one more question. In terms of our interest of putting people in space, so far we've been sending people on ISS, and you presented a number of experiments they've done. I'm wondering, what kind of experiments are we looking for to put people in space?
Okay.
What kind of
very tough.
What directions are we looking at?
We tried every kind of experiment, physics, biology, and human society or something. But anyway, it's very hard to what the result, put the result on the table. But I cannot do this right now because we need a time to show the result. Probably next generation or second next generation we will get. But the important thing is to try to enlarge our frontier line, do new things, try to do new things. It's a very important activity for us. So I show that challenging the new activity, like Pursuit, it's a very new type of skate program, but we Japanese won that game. But almost all Japanese are very impressed to overcome the Holland, Netherlands. 4 years ago, Japan was defeated, time of the 12 seconds. But this time, we won. That's our very challenging activity. But anyway, that kind of activity is we can find in the space, I hope.
Thank you very much.
We have one more question here. I'm thinking about, for example, Falcon Heavy. So Elon Musk, yes, launched Falcon Heavy. He's a private investor, to say so. Recently, there is an idea of privatizing ISS, International Space Station. So how do you see in the future this private-public partnership? Do you think that the private will move forward, will move faster than, let's say, state body like NASA or JAXA?
It's my personal opinion, but NASA has a tendency to do a new one, not the second one. So at the completion of the instructing the ISS, he mentioned that we will soon move to the next phase. So almost 10 years ago, he mentioned. So they did. So, but as for the private sector in the United States, they have a lot of contract from the NASA, so they can do. The Elon Musk also the big contract from NASA, and he can manage going to Mars. So if we have a big pie, we can manage that private activity, but whether we can make, for example, not good word, but make money from space, it's very difficult right now. Still need to fostering from some organization. It's my personal opinion. We need the time, more time.
Thank you.
We were just thinking about buying ourselves. Putting some money, Radio Romania, Science and Techniques magazine and so on. Let's put some money and buy it. I am speaking about the IASS.
The very good candidate for making money is protein crystallization. If we succeeded that project, we can make a good drug, なんて言うんだろう、筋ジストロフィーってなんて言うの筋ジストロフィー
Muscular dystrophy?
It's one drug right now we are developing in space. If we succeeded, very good
to
for
prevent
human.
muscular mass loss
That's right,
of
that's
astronauts. So you plan on testing this drug on astronauts
No,
and
make
applying it for muscular dystrophy on Earth?
Make a protein crystal for drug. So if
Just to make a drug, like we need
drug.
to crystallize a protein, and in the space, the crystallization process is very minute.
Mhm.
So therefore,
in the space.
Yes,
to
that's
make
right.
that to space and bring it back to the Earth. And that's why that this special drug for treating muscular dystrophy can be developed in the space, and that would create a major income for space industry.
But can you recreate the conditions, the production conditions on Earth? Because I imagine we cannot create too many drugs on the space station. The protein.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very hard to crystallize on Earth.
Yes.
So only in space we can good crystal, perfect crystal like it. So we can analyze,
replicate it in
right.
in the laboratory.
Analyze the structure, then we can manufacture the same drug on ground.
And also that's why the private industry would come into the space when the space can produce a lot of money, income source. Private business does not go into the space as a volunteer. They would only do that if the space proved to be profitable. And at this point, Elon Musk and such, and also getting a contract from NASA at this point. So actually, it's a public investment, privately done. And in that way, that we are still a little bit behind. We still have a little more way for private industry to take over the NASA or JAXA or those public institutes. I think that's what we were talking about.
Thank you. If we have any more questions.
Just a declaration. The best thing we've got from you is an easy-to-use racket for everyone. I can imagine my grandsons running away from home with their easy-to-use racket.
Rocket, yes. According to the Elon Musk explanation, he launched the Falcon 9 and the Falcon Heavy is almost same concept. Launching the rocket like this, and the upper stage go to the objective, ISS or Mars, and the lower stage will return and reuse. So it means that the cost will down to 1/10. So it's the beginning. It's very hard to recover. But anyway, try to reduce the launching cost. It's Elon Musk's concept.
Can I have the question? Do you intend to go to the moon in a, let's say, very serious manner to develop a station there?
Yeah, yeah, good question. That very
because, for example, building a space elevator on the moon, we could do that with the technology we have now. We cannot build a space elevator on Earth now, but we could do it on the moon and then launch various stuff from there. Does any space agency intend to go to the moon and build an autonomous station there? Not necessarily with astronauts. Or
our JAXA is now aiming to go to the moon, but and also the current Prime Minister Abe mentioned that it's good for mankind all over the world stand the face of the moon. I think it's not an economical idea, but still the expand our frontier line. It's almost 50 years ago.
It would be exploration driven, not economically
this
driven.
This time it's working.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You said before something about Michibi navigation system. JAXA has in plan to mitigate the spoofing fake signal for Michibi.
It's a fake signal?
Yes. Something similar GPS has last year with spoofing fake GPS signal from the Russian.
I'm sorry, I don't know that concept, but
yes, they have a way to interfere with the signals, the Russians.
No, I think it's a real problem for the navigation systems.
Ships are lost.
I'm sorry. we JAXA do this kind of activity, just goodwill.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Japan's space program completely detached from the military or defense industries. That's actually the downside of Japan as well, because NASA has a very good connection with the defense and military industry, so they have a large budget. But the Japan space program has a motto to completely detach from the military activities and such research, and therefore recently it started to have a little more discussion around it. I heard, but it's a complete detachment, and that's one of the reasons JAXA's funding is not as much as what it can be. That's why we are our government's current motto, I hope continue to be the motto, is research for the peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yanagawa, for the presentation. A big round of applause.
How do you pronounce this word?
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. Thank you very much.
Well, we hope it's not actually the end. It's the beginning of a fruitful collaboration. I would like to thank again the 3 members of the Japanese delegation from JAXA Space Center. Thank you for being with us today and presenting the project and the activity of JAXA. I would like to give them the opportunity to present some gifts that they have brought from Japan. We're very curious to find out, because these are some very special items. I don't know if they're from space.
Okay, and this is we'd like to thank you for inviting us here today and having a great opportunity. And we special thank you to our host, Dr. Suguro, of the director of the Institute for Space Science. And this is a small gift from JAXA. I cannot say small gift because I'm working with the outside job. This is a big gift from JAXA. Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's a model rocket of our famous H2A rocket, H2B rocket, and also something I hope you like it. And also that Dr. Sunkar, director of the National Astronomical Observatory, who hosted us very kindly. Thank you. And also 2 people who also worked very hard to organize this this visit. And one is Miss Anna. I cannot pronounce your last name, so Anna. And it's from the White Cross Foundation. And Violetta is now picking up the gift. We just completely forgot about to bring it here. And Anna, and also Christian, Dr. Ionescu, who is also working with the institute right now. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yes, he is here. So, Violetta, could you, Dr. Sakuraba? Yeah. From Anna to Anna. Thank you. And Christian.
And the mascot of the JAXA
No, actually, that is called that's the symbol of resilience and success. This is a monk. This is a figure of a monk who had a determination and prayed a long time. So he doesn't have an arm and a leg anymore because he was sitting and praying a long time. And basically, he failed 7 times, but succeeded the 8th time. And so, as you can see, you cannot flip down. This is the symbol. And when you have something that you really want to accomplish, you put the I here, and you set it in the mind. And when it succeeds, you put another I here. And this is how you use it. And this is the word space. And behind it, it's the JAXA Space Education Center. We failed many times. But we are constantly working with the data and also research to update our programs with a lot of fight for with mind. And so we are still developing our space education approach, and we also still developing educational outreach approach to make it better. And we hope that we can continue collaborating with international partners, and we hope that we can continue having a dialogue. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
I really appreciate all of you. This opportunity is very useful for us and all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you again for the gifts and for the expertise that you have shared with us today. Again, thank you for being here with us for this great opportunity to know the programs of JAXA and hopefully to create a future collaboration. We invite you to have lunch with us upstairs. Upstairs, we'll guide you to, myself and Director Zgura will guide you to the room where we'll have lunch. And please do not forget to register at the front table if you haven't for the diplomas. Thank you again and have a nice day.